Episode 761. Moments later, the 10 members of the Annihilation Guild had all teleported into the ancient Dragon Abyss. This Dragon Abyss sat within a gorge, and in keeping with Glory's naming conventions, the gorge was naturally named after the Dragon Abyss itself. The wild boss, the dungeon's final boss, and even its hidden boss were all ancient dragons. And according to the lore, these 3 ancient dragons were brothers. Of course, that was before. Now they are ancient dragons, clearly undead creatures. Chris Bean was Extinction's main tank. He'd seen every dungeon Glory had to offer. For a guild of Metien's caliber, even the highest difficulty 100-man dungeons were still a considerable challenge. But for someone like Chris Bean, a 10-man dungeon like this really wasn't anything special. So the moment he entered the dungeon, he charged straight in to crush the monsters. In his eyes, this dungeon was nothing but fodder to be crushed. Yi Shu was the last of the 10 to enter the instance. When he teleported in, the front lines were already a lively mess. A tank usually doubles as the dungeon leader, but for a dungeon that Kudo considered a pushover, did they really need a leader? Of course not. Everyone just had to follow his lead and charge in swinging. The whole team was thrown into a bit of a scramble. Yi Shu could tell at a glance. Suidu was a veteran, no doubt, and Shinlu wasn't bad either. But the rest of the party showed a bit of rustiness, not with the controls, but with the dungeon itself. Anyone who could enter the heavenly domain and pass its technical trials wouldn't be rusty on the controls. But when facing a dungeon they'd never cleared before, they'd still feel lost, unsure where to even start. Even the heavenly domain has its newcomers. First-timers in Glory, who've just challenged their way in to the domain. They're rookies, plain and simple. Of course, the 10th server only had 2 such newcomers, but in the earlier servers, not every player who hit level 70 could breeze through the Heavenly Domain challenge quest right away. Yi Shu and Xiao Yifan were exceptions. They were pro-level experts, backed by formidable technical skill, which allowed them to clear the challenge quest at levels 50 and 55. But for the average player, the challenge quest was nowhere near that easy. By level 70, most players would still need to spend a fair amount of time acquiring powerful gear to handle the many combat encounters in the challenge quest's mission segment. As for the arena portion, that might actually be the easy part for Ye Shu and Xiao Yifan, but for ordinary players, it's even more brutal. Bossing still has some patterns to follow, but PK is forever unpredictable, especially the requirement for consecutive wins. For ordinary players, that's practically a fatal blow. So in the older zones like District 9 and District 8, which had been running for a year or 2, plenty of players hit level 70 but still couldn't clear the Heavenly Domain challenge quest. Besides, new players don't necessarily start from the 10th server. Actually, if you want to level up fast and break into the Heavenly Domain, the older servers are the better choice. With high-level players boosting them, the leveling speed is way faster than clearing new content, so Heavenly Domain keeps seeing fresh faces. As for the 8 people Yi Shu had just seen, he figured they were exactly that kind of player. At the very least, they'd never set foot in the ancient Dragon Abyss dungeon before. And this new route wasn't just a personal gear farming run. It was a group of rookies thrown together, all tackling the ancient Dragon Abyss for the first time. A team like this can't go without a commander, can it? Chris Bean wouldn't stoop to that, so Sinlu had to take command. The only problem was, commanding Yi Shu was incredibly inconvenient. How so?
The problem is Yi Shu named his knight Invincible and Most Handsome. How are you supposed to address someone with a name like that?
Saying the full name, Unmatched Most Handsome, takes too long, a waste of time. If I cut it in half, do I call him Invincible, Handsome, or Most Handsome? Every possible combination felt too awkward for Sinlu to say out loud. She silently cursed the guy for having the nerve to pick such a shameless name. In the end, Shinlu referred to Yi Shu as you, while everyone else got their names called. For Yi Shu, it was just you. What was that about? The party went through a bout of chaos entering and exiting the instance, but under Sinlu's direction, they gradually stabilized. After all, this newcomer was only new relative to the heavenly domain. Anyone who'd fought their way into the heavenly domain already had the foundation to show for it. Besides, dungeons are pretty much the same everywhere. The basic stuff you need to watch out for doesn't change no matter where you go. These people clearly weren't going to make those rookie mistakes. As long as they followed orders, there wasn't much of a problem. The party pushed forward, and Kyudo gradually grew more talkative, though it was mostly complaints, clearly dissatisfied with their pace. In the end, he was practically shouting at everyone to go all out on DPS and not be afraid of pulling OT. The party finally reached the first boss. They paused to catch their breath before pulling. Kyudo pulled up the damage meter and posted it to the party channel without any mercy. Yi Shu's unrivaled and most handsome ranked second to last, only above Shinlu's cleric, who was focused on healing.
You really are a natural-born MT, aren't you?
Crisp Bean sneered.
Not at all. I'm putting serious effort into slacking off.
Yi Shu replied, his teammates unfazed, but Chen Guo beside him looked like she was about to spit blood again. As for how that team would treat Yi Shu, Chen Guo was just waiting for the show to unfold. For instance, when Yi Shu wouldn't let the tank deal damage, the squishy mage who pulled OT couldn't be peeled off no matter what. Shen Guo was sure Yi Shu had that kind of skill. Watching the whole bloody trail unfold, Chen Guo's doubts were only growing. Not to mention anything else, the guy barely even touched the keyboard while playing. He just propped his chin on his hand, left elbow on the table, clicking away with the mouse in his right hand, headphones dangling around his neck like a speaker blasting sound.